Hello, world, and welcome to the Quick Kick Picks presented by Burrows Talking Soccer MLS Match Week 25 edition Rivalry Week. Christian, you excited? You pumped for Rivalry Week?
Well, Dave, as one of your brothers, I know how rivalries can get, and so I couldn't be any more excited than I am right now.
Good. That is exciting. I am very excited about it as well. And so we're going to be previewing the 11 matches happening this weekend. Quick reminder, we play a Quick Kick Picks game, so play along with us. Leave your predictions. If you're watching on YouTube, leave them below in the comment section, or preferably send us a tweet over on our Twitter at BTSoccerPod with your game predictions, score predictions. If you get the home team score correct, that is a point. If you get the away team score correct, that is a point. If you get the result of the match correct, that is a point. And what happens, Christian, if you get all three of those correct?
Well, Dave, you get a bonus 2 points, so it is out of 5 total points in every match.
5 points up for grabs in all 11 games. So that's 55 points up for grabs this weekend. We're approaching the end of August, the highest score at the end of August. I think this might be the last match week. We haven't talked about what if this is going to be the last match week or not. We'll figure that one out. Either way, leave your predictions. Highest score at the end of the month. We'll get to come on our podcast for a 15-minute guest appearance. So make sure to leave your predictions. Two quick other reminders. Twitter restricts us to about 2 minutes and 20 seconds per video. So for each game, we restrict ourselves to about 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And you'll hear a little whistle go off here. Don't be alarmed. That is coming from us. That's to keep us in line, to make sure we keep ourselves restricted to that 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Last thing, we are recording live on YouTube. And if you leave a comment as we go along here, we are not going to respond to it while we're talking. We will circle back to it at the end of the video. So make sure to stick around. If you want to leave a comment, please do that, and we would love to answer it. But because we have that Twitter restriction, we're not going to be able to respond in real time. Christian, anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, as a member of this and we have not discussed it yet, I would say that next week's games would count because there's only 2 that are actually as part of September. So I would say that with the majority being played on Friday and Saturday next week, only 2 matches are played Sunday. They should all count towards the August totals. All
right, so there you have it. We're deciding things in real time, so make sure to leave your predictions because you still got 2 weeks left. So even if this is your first time watching, please still do that. All right, let's get into the games here. Christian, you ready to get going?
I'm so ready.
All right, I have those backwards. Let me switch that before we get going. Hopefully that's on the sign. Kicking things off on Friday, August 23rd, we have Orlando City hosting Atlanta United at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't think this rivalry has a name yet, but Christian, what are you expecting to happen in this match?
I can only see one thing happening in this match, and it's an Atlanta victory right now because of the way that they're playing. It's incredible to watch. Joseph Martinez scoring goals in every single match for the last 11 matches. That is mind-blowing stats right there. I don't think people who don't follow soccer closely understand how impressive that is to do. It is absolutely ridiculous that he's able to score in 11 straight games. He's on fire. The team around him's on fire. I don't know. I don't know what Orlando's going to do to try and stop him, but they're not the team to do it. And I could see this being. I don't think it will be a blowout, but I could see it happening. This game, I'm going with an Atlanta 3-1 victory here. I don't think Orlando can pose the threat, but I expect it to be physical because it's a rivalry match.
Yep, and because it's a rivalry match, I'm actually predicting something that you think is not possible, an Orlando victory here. Now, there's a couple of things that factor into it.
You're a Union supporter? Is that the number one?
No. Atlanta has the Open Cup on Tuesday, so I would expect them to play a strong lineup here, but I wouldn't be shocked to see a little bit of lineup rotation with an eye towards winning that competition, which they've never won before. Also, Atlanta is not great on the road. They're only averaging 1 point per game on the road. They have a -5 goal difference in 12 matches as well. But, Christian, you have something to say?
Yeah. In response to that, you got to take into account how bad they started the season and how good they've been in the past couple of weeks. That really doesn't.
And their last 10 matches, 8 wins, 2 losses. Both those losses came at Seattle and at LAFC. That's a pretty good sign. They also only lost those by 1 goal. So, yes, they're absolutely flying. Orlando, meanwhile, they've never beaten Atlanta. They've only scored 6 goals over those 8 matches. They don't have the greatest home record. But, again, they're unbeaten in their last 4 matches, and I just think they're a little bit more motivated. They're right outside the playoffs right now in the East, and if they can get a win here, they'll jump up into playoff contention. I think that factors in here. KXG, Knittel expect goals this one, 1.39 to 1.27 in favor of Orlando. I'm predicting a 3-2 Orlando victory. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's keep it going. Next match we are talking about, we have the Portland Timbers hosting the Seattle Sounders at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, Cascadia Cup rivalry match. Now, Portland, they beat Seattle 2-1 on the road about a month ago. Most recently, they lost 2-0 at home to Atlanta in their most recent match, but that was only their second loss at home all season. They're averaging almost 2 points per game at home and averaging more than 2 goals per game, so they're pretty strong home side. Seattle, meanwhile, they have been in pretty poor form since mid-July. 1 win, 2 draws, and 3 losses over that run. They're only getting 1 point per game on the road. They have a -8 goal difference in 13 matches, and I don't love the way that this team is trending right now. And so our homemade expected goals model, Canadian expected goals, has this one 1.85 to 1.12 in favor of Portland. I have Portland prevailing in a 2-1 victory here. Christian, what are you expecting?
If I'm a Portland fan, I'm really disappointed with that result last week because in that game, they had so many chances and Guzan made a bunch of absolutely incredible saves to deny them at least a point against Atlanta. But I think at home again, they'll have the crowd behind them. They always are. And in a rivalry match, you see things happen that are just absolutely incredible at times. So I think Portland do pull this off as well. I think Seattle are an excellent, excellent team. And Portland have been sliding a little bit in the last couple of weeks. But right now, I just think Portland at home are going to get it done. They have a bunch of home games down the stretch here, and they're going to use them to their advantage to really cement their playoff position. Seattle are fighting for probably a second place position in the table, so they're going to be – no, you don't think so at this point?
Yeah, I do not like the way this team is trending. Portland can actually pass Seattle in the standings with a win here.
I understand, but I still think that between the two, Seattle are a better team overall. It's just my preference to the way they play, but – I still think Portland are going to get this job done, and they'll probably jump them in the table right now. So who knows what's going to happen here. Both will be up for it. It's one of the biggest rivalries in U.S. soccer. So Timbers take this one. I'm going to agree 2-1.
All right. Next match we are talking about moving to Saturday, August 24th. We have the Hudson River Derby, NYC FC, hosting the Red Bulls at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
Fireworks, I expect in this one. I think NYCFC, obviously, home field advantage. Dave's blurry, not sure why, but NYCFC is an incredible home team. They really get a lot of points at home, and it's impressive what they're able to do with that home field advantage. Obviously, I address it every single time because it's a ridiculous thing that they're allowed to play on that field, but you know, they use it to their advantage, and credit to them for that. New York Red Bulls, on the other hand, I feel like they've been on or off just every single week. Like they're either very, very good or they're very bad. So I think that this is a game they really will be up for just because it is a New York rivalry. And I expect this one to be a high-scoring game, probably a 3-3 draw type of game, just because both teams have a lot of attacking talent. They are scoring goals recently. And I don't expect a lot of defense from either of these two sides.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Both played midweek, so I don't know if there's going to be a little bit of a factor with fatigue at all. They both played relatively strong lineups as well, so that'll be interesting to see. NYC beat Columbus. They have 3 straight home wins and only 1 home loss all season in MLS. They're averaging 2 points per game at home and conceding less than a goal per game. Red Bull, meanwhile, they won at DC, and they played a relatively strong lineup, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there. They did lose Amro Tarek to 2 yellow cards, so he has a red card suspension, but he is basically their third choice center back anyway, so Wong and Parker should fill in, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Christian, you touched on, they have been in spotty form, the Red Bulls. They haven't had back-to-back wins in MLS since May 25th and June 1st. That's 13 matches where they haven't strung together 2 wins in a row. They, however, have dominated this series, 9 wins, 2 draws, and only 4 losses across all competitions in this matchup. And lastly, they have 4 road wins in 13 matches on the season. That's a 31% win percentage on the road. So Red Bulls aren't exactly great on the road. KXG has this one 1.59 to 1.1. With it being a rivalry match, and Christian, I think you're spot on with it being high scoring. I'm going to go with a 3-2 NYCFC victory here. Anything else?
Nope.
Next match, we have our Philadelphia Union hosting DC United at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. So this one, I-95 derby, or I've also heard it called the Colonial Cup. So whatever you want to call it, it is kind of a budding rivalry in MLS. These two teams met 3 weeks ago with Philly prevailing 5-1 at DC. Now DC had a tough injury to Durkin and also a red card in that match, but Philly was more or less in control even before those things happened. Philly didn't have a midweek match, whereas DC does. However, Philly did not play well against Chicago. Specifically, they didn't finish well. I thought that they created chances and they just didn't take those chances, and that's a frustrating thing to see. They are, however, undefeated in their last 5 matches at home. They're averaging more than 2 points per game at home and scoring more than 2 goals per game. They have a plus 14 goal difference in 13 home matches. DC, meanwhile, Rooney picked up a red card midweek, so he's going to be suspended here. Their season is basically becoming unraveled. Touched on that last video, but they have 3 wins in MLS since May 12th. That's basically 1 win per month over their last 3 months. They've lost 2 straight. Only road win was in April at FC Cincinnati. Only red win since April, was at FC Cincinnati. So I have Philly prevailing this one 3-1. Christian, what do you expect?
Yeah, I think the Union have this one wrapped up. I think DC they had a midweek game against the Red Bulls, so that's another rivalry. They're going to be coming off that. They're going to be exhausted. And with Rooney being out of this game, I think that is a huge hindrance to their attack. He is a big focal point. They have a lot of creative players in there anyway, but he is obviously the key man for that team. And him being out is a huge factor in this game. I think the Union probably score multiple goals, as you've touched on, and I'm not really sold on the DC defense. We saw it when the Union went to DC a couple of weeks ago that they were able to create a lot, and that was without their best midfielder. So this could be an incredible performance and a game changer one, especially if Atlanta drop points this week and NYC FC do. Considering all these rivalry games are going on, who knows what's going to happen. So I think I'm going to agree with you there. But I'm going to go an extra goal here. I'm going to say it's a 4-1 victory for the Union at home. And if they're fully healthy, which it appears to be, I think the Union are really going to be riding their luck down the stretch here and possibly sneaking into that first place spot going into the playoffs.
All right, KXG is this one 1.74 to 1.09. Next game we're talking about, we have Toronto FC hosting the Montreal Impact at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Canadian Classique or 4-1 derby. Christian, what is happening in this one?
I'm going with a Toronto victory in this one. And even though they haven't been playing particularly well, this is the game we were talking about, I hope. I'm pretty sure that I was listening there, but I am just looking at my app right now. You were talking about Toronto, correct?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was looking at my phone when you started talking, and then I realized I missed. All right, so Toronto, I think, is going to be the winner in this game. And because they have the talent and because they have the home field advantage here, Montreal not been great on the road this season, and they've been spotty in their form just week to week. It's been very, very surprising from them. I expected more of them, specifically with the start to the season, considering they were on the road for a lot of their start to the season. They look like with the home stretch they were going to have down at the end of the season, it was going to push them into the playoffs easily. Now they're possibly going to drop out, and I don't think that they are. I think that they will sneak in there. Toronto are fighting to get into that spot. So this is a huge game for both of them. I think Toronto are going to get the victory here. I don't think this one is as much as a heated rivalry as some of the other ones in the league. And it'll be, I mean, it obviously is a rivalry and it'll be up for it. But Toronto, I think just with the talent they have in their squad right now, are going to push themselves over the line. And it's going to be a 2-0 victory here.
All right, so Toronto, they continue to underperform. Since the Gold Cup, they have 4 wins, 2 draws, and 4 losses. Scoring isn't their problem, but they continue to concede goals at home. Their last clean sheet at home in MLS was a 0-0 draw with DC United on May 15th. That was 7 matches ago. Montreal, meanwhile, they fired their coach, Remy Gard, and they appointed Wilmer Cabrera, who was an interesting choice from them, so it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. They had a 3-0 lead over the weekend against FC Dallas. They let that slip. They're winless in their last 3 matches. Their last road win in MLS came on May 8th, and so they're averaging less than a point per game on the road. They have not been good. KXG is this one 1.58 to 1.19 in favor of Toronto. I'm predicting a high-scoring 4-2 Toronto victory. Next match we are talking about, we have the New England Revolution taking on the Chicago Fire at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. So New England has come down to earth just a little bit over their, last few matches, but those matches came at against LAFC, at Seattle, and at the Red Bulls. So again, they come down a little bit, but not a ton. They haven't won their last 3, but they have 2 draws over that stretch. And so those are pretty good results. Over their last 7 home games, though, they have 4 wins, 2 draws, and only 1 loss. They've scored 15 and only conceded 7. Also, their new signings have really clicked well. Bo has been especially good mid-season signing, and Carlos Gil has been really good for them off-season signing. Chicago, meanwhile, they were impressive against Philadelphia, especially in the first half, and then they picked up the red card. They bunkered down, and they didn't concede. That was a good sign from them. Gaetan, though, however, will be suspended for this game from the red card he picked up, but they will get Katai back. So there's a slight drop-off in talent, but Katai should be able to fit in there. Nikolic has really heated up for Chicago. That's an encouraging sign for them. Having said all that, they only have 1 road win all season, and I like what the Revs have been doing. 3-1 win for the Revs. KXG 1.54 to 1.41. Christian, what do you expect to happen here?
Yeah, this isn't really one of the rivalry matches that we are looking forward to this weekend, but the New England Revolution, I agree with you, have dropped off a little bit in form. 2 points out of the last 9 is not really what you want to be seeing, but 9 points available.
9 points,
9 games. Yeah. So I think that they are able to right the ship a little bit just because Chicago are so poor on the road. We've seen it time and time again from them this year. They played very well against the Union, specifically in the second half when they had to just defend and keep the Union out at home. On the road, it's a different story, though, and they just don't travel well. I agree with that. Gaetan being out is a huge part of their attack, and without him in the team, that's going to be a lot of struggles for them to create goal-scoring opportunities. So this week, I just don't have any confidence that they can get the job done. I don't think they're going to even score on the road. I'm going with a 2-0 victory for the New England Revolution here.
Next match we are talking about, we have RSL hosting the Colorado Rapids at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Rocky Mountain Cup action. Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
I expect a lot of goals in this one. I think RSL have proven that they are a very strong home side in their last few games at home, and Colorado have proven that they could score goals in pretty much every game this season. So I think that being a Western Conference rivalry, not as much of a rivalry, but it is slight rivalry.
No, it's a rivalry.
Is it? Okay. I didn't really know much about this one, but I think that RSL, with their home form, with the way that they've been playing recently, are able to get the job done, but Colorado will not be a pushover. And as we've seen, they've gone to a lot of the top teams this year and scored goals on the road, causing problems for a lot of defenses. So RSL get this one 2-1. I think it's going to be very, very tight, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way here.
Interesting. So I have it being more of a blowout, and that's just based on RSL's recent form. Now, they did lose at home to LAFC, but there's really no shame in that. LAFC is just on a different planet. But yeah, prior to that, they had won 3 straight, and they were undefeated in their last 6 MLS matches. Even with the LAFC loss, they're still one of the best home sides in all of MLS. They have more than 2 points per game at home is what they're averaging, plus 13 goal difference in 13 matches. So they're on average beating teams by a goal. So that is a good sign. They also haven't lost to Colorado in 4 meetings. Colorado, meanwhile, they're winless in their last 2 after they won 2 to start August. They drew on the road at Houston, which is a pretty respectable result, and they are scoring 1.7 goals per game. That's tied for 4th in the league, but the numbers are significantly worse on the road. Only scoring 1.2 goals per game on the road. Only have 1 road win all season. KXG, homemade expected goals model, has this one 1.39 to 1.21 in favor of RSL. Based on RSL's recent run of form and just Colorado's terrible away form, I actually have RSL getting a 4-1 victory here, really putting their stamp on this matchup. Christian, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I'm just surprised that you are trusting it to be a blowout, especially in a rivalry match. I think both teams are going to be up for it, and it's just not going to be that easy for either one. I
could be very wrong on that, but that's what I'm going with. Next match we are talking about, we have the San Jose Earthquakes versus the Vancouver Whitecaps at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is another one that isn't quite a rivalry match, go along with New England and Chicago this weekend. San Jose, they've hit a rough patch in their form. They have 3 straight losses. All of those came on the road, and they're winless in their last 4 matches. I don't think it's time to panic, though, especially with the Vancouver Whitecaps coming to town. They're still top 10 in the league in home form. 2 points per game at home is what they average. They haven't lost at home since March 30th to LAFC, and their only home losses on the entire season came in that early stretch when they were really trying to figure out their system and their personnel. They're undefeated in their last 11 matches at home across all competitions. Vancouver, meanwhile, they got a somewhat surprising win against DC United, but it's not too surprising given how poor DC has been in their struggles with travel. 2 wins in their last 3 matches, but they came against DC and Cincinnati. Those are their only wins since the Gold Cup break, which is 13 matches across all competitions. 2 road wins all season at Colorado, not incredibly impressive, and at Cincinnati, not impressive whatsoever. Negative 13 goal difference on the road in 14 matches, and so that's why I have San Jose getting a comfortable 3-0 win here. Christian, what are you expecting?
Absolutely, it's going to be a comfortable San Jose win here. I agree that they haven't looked particularly great in the last couple of weeks, but they were in incredible form leading up until that. And with the start that they had, for them to be in the position they are now is a testament to how well they were played in that middle stretch of the season. So this is the game that they're going to right the ship. They're going to figure out what's been going wrong, because Vancouver, you don't really know what you're doing, guys. And I think you need to get it together. Right now, I think it's going to be a blowout. I'm trying to figure out how many goals I want to predict San Jose scores in this game, but I think it could be as much as 5 goals. So I'm going with a 5-0 victory for San Jose in this one, just because Vancouver have really just been a letdown all season long.
All right, fair enough. KXG, homemade expected goals model, is predicting this one 1.82 to 1.13 in favor of San Jose there. Moving to Sunday, August 25th, we have FC Cincinnati hosting the Columbus Crew at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Hell is Real Derby. Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
Well, hell is real in Ohio for these two teams this season. It is just poor. Sorry, I was just ranting about Vancouver a little bit, but these two have been almost as poor as Vancouver all season long, and I don't even know what to guess in this game because neither one of them are really playing for anything. I guess they're trying to save face. This is the save face rivalry this year. So whoever wins this won't feel as bad about themselves as they probably should. So FC Cincinnati, I think, get the win here just because they're at home. And it's a crapshoot. I can guess either one here. I'm going with FC Cincinnati, and I think it's going to be ugly. I don't expect a lot of goals in this. Both teams are weak defensively, but both teams don't really offer a lot in the attack either. So I'm going with a 1-0 low-scoring victory for FC Cincinnati here.
Okay, so they played 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty entertaining to draw. So I'm using that as sort of my baseline here. That was the only point that FC Cincinnati has picked up in their last 6 matches. Not a great sign. As I mentioned when we were talking about Vancouver, Cincinnati, they are not very good. Worst team at home in the entire league. 0.8 points per game at home, conceding more than 2 goals per game on average at home. The bottom of the table in MLS, tied for worst on goals per game, worst in goals conceded per game. Columbus, meanwhile, they've turned things around a little bit. They lost midweek 1-0 to FC Cincinnati, but they were unbeaten in their 6 prior to that. Having said that, they're one of the worst teams on the road in all of MLS. But their last 4 games, 2 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss on the road. They have 6 goals for and 6 goals against. Neither team is likely to make the playoffs, as Christian touched on here. But I think this is going to be another exciting, high-scoring match. And I have this one ultimately being a 3-2 Cincinnati victory. They're buoyed by the home crowd in this rivalry. It's one of the only things they can really celebrate on the season, so that's why I'm predicting that. KXG 1.34 to 1.21 in favor of FC Cincinnati. Christian, something else to add?
Nope.
Next game and second to last game of the weekend, we have FC Dallas hosting the Houston Dynamo at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Texas Derby. I'm going first on this one. FC Dallas, they fought back to draw 3-3 with Montreal before going they went down 3-0 in that match, and it was very impressive for them to fight back on the road in that one. They're undefeated in their last 7 home MLS matches, 15 goals scored and only 7 conceded over that time. 2 points per game at home is what they're averaging. That's a pretty good marker for them. They did, however, lose 2-1 at Houston earlier this year in May, but that was a very different Houston team, different coach, different run of form for them, and Houston had been playing very well at home. Houston, meanwhile, Davy Arnaud is their new interim manager. They drew 2-2 with Colorado at home in his first match. Having said that, they've been terrible on the road all season, 0.5 points per game. It's one of the worst in the league. Only 2 wins at Toronto and at Colorado. All other 10 matches, road matches for them, have been losses. They haven't even picked up a point. KXG is this one 1.61 to 1.03 in favor of FC Dallas. I have FC Dallas getting a 2-0 win here. Christian, what are you expecting?
Definitely going with a Dallas win here just because Houston have been so poor, not really because Dallas are the better team overall. But based on current form, they might be because Houston really have been that poor in the past couple of weeks. We saw them live a couple of weeks ago when they were here for the Union, and Houston really didn't offer much in the attack in that game. And I don't expect them to go to Dallas and pose much of a threat either. So FC Dallas comfortable in this one. I'm guessing a 3-1 victory for Dallas just because I just don't have faith in Houston on the road. Defensively, they've been leaky, and they've got to figure out a way to fix it because right now they're probably out of the playoffs and don't really have much of a shot of making it.
Yeah, and the last thing, the majority of Houston's games remaining are on the road, so that's a really worrying sign if I'm a Dynamo fan. And so not to pile on or anything like that, but they really got to get things changed very, very quickly down there. Anything else?
Yeah, Dallas are fighting for a playoff spot, and they're right on that line right now, so they're going to be up for this one more than Houston.
Yep. Matchup of the weekend. Closing things out for this weekend, we have LAFC hosting the LA Galaxy at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in El Tráfico. Christian, what's going to happen here?
Well, this definitely is my game of the weekend just because LAFC, so fun to watch. On any given day, they provide goals, they provide flair. It's really a joy to watch this team play in America right now. And LA Galaxy, not really pushovers either. I don't think they've been in the best form recently, but they seem to be bouncing back a little bit. They are inching their way back up into that second, third type of spot for the playoff race here. And I don't think going on the road is very flattering for the Galaxy because they're going to LAFC, which is only down the street, but it might as well be halfway around the world with what they're going to face. LAFC are just a monstrosity of a team right now. Attacking creativity, defensively, they are just incredibly strong. I just have never seen anything like it in my life in U.S. soccer, and we're going to see it again. I think they do just want to prove a point at this point. They struggled with LA Galaxy when Zlatan'd on them earlier in the year, but LAFC, no doubt in my mind, get this right the second time around, and it's going to be an LAFC. I'm going with a 4-1 victory here. I think that they really, really want to just stamp their authority after what happened in the last match.
And so LAFC played midweek. They destroyed San Jose. Vela had another wonder goal. Zimmerman was suspended midweek. He's going to be back for this match. That's going to bolster LAFC's defense. Having said all that, LAFC has not beaten LA Galaxy in their existence. They have 2 draws and 2 losses. Galaxy, Zlatan is usually motivated when he plays against LAFC, and Christian Pavón has been a good signing for them. Stats likely don't mean much in this one, but Galaxy have been very, very poor on the road. I know we have a regular viewer, Sal, you're joining live on YouTube. You're not going to like my prediction either. I think LAFC wants to make a serious statement here. I expect them to win 5-1 here. And so apologies, Sal, but I think that might be what happens. KXG is this one 2.02 to 1.36. Christian, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
All right. Well, you took all of my time in that last game, but Sal, yes, I apologize for that prediction. I knew you weren't going to like it, but thank you for joining us live on YouTube. Anyone else that has joined us and or is watching, we appreciate it. Quick thing, if you like what we're doing here, go check out our website, brostalkingsoccer.com. If you want to support us, consider buying us a shot. It costs $3, and it helps support the show, everything we are doing. So please consider doing that. Make sure to leave your predictions on Twitter at BTSoccerPod or leave them below this video. Christian, anything else you would like to add?
Let's go get some matches played.
Yes, and this has been Quick Kick Picks. Forgot to say that. All right, let's go get some matches played. Say, everybody.